The story of the Craigslist scammer or Craigslist killer is a myth. The reality is that there are still buyers and sellers on Craigslist, and I'm going to show you how to find them. My name is Levi Jones. I'm the founder and head coach of Guerrilla Realty, and I want to help you take control of your business and generate more leads than you can handle, all for free. And I'm not the only one to use Craigslist to generate new business. There's Tony in California who took a $2.1 million listing and also found that seller a home to buy with just a few Craigslist ads strategically written and posted. Or there's Shari in Maryland who also found a seller turned buyer and took a listing at $485,000. Now, we use this strategy to generate new leads and new business every single day. And I'm going to walk you through how to write lead generating ads on Craigslist. Yes, that Craigslist. By the way, I do a full 1 hour training on this same topic, and it comes with a full download of all the tools and resources I mentioned in this video. And you can get that training for free, no upsell. All you have to do is like this video, share it with a friend, and comment shared below, and I'll send you a private link directly to the training. Let's jump into it. Here's what we're going to cover in this video. First, we'll cover the secret to generating real leads for free. You don't have to burn money on ads or pay hefty referral commissions to generate leads anymore. Then I'll show you how to write the perfect Craigslist ad. We've written thousands of ads on the platform and figured out what works, what doesn't, and we want to share the format we've landed on that always generates leads. And then finally, I'll show you how to supercharge your ads with SEO. We'll show you how to boost your visibility by packing your ads with keywords so that they can be found all over Craigslist as well as on the major search engines. Now, Craigslist isn't some dusty old classified site. It's where real buyers and sellers are looking right now. When you know how to show up there the right way, you can start pulling in real leads for free in just a day. Now, I realize a lot of you are probably scoffing at me and you're going, Craigslist? People still search on Craigslist? And the answer is yes, they do. Craigslist is one of the most popular sites on the internet. And before you even go there, it's not just full of lowlifes and scumbags like you're probably thinking. In fact, Pew Research did a poll a while ago where they figured out, hey, what is the profile of the Craigslist user? And here's what they found. First, they are more educated than the average internet user. Okay, check one. Then they skew younger. In other words, we're not talking about, even though it's an older site, we're not talking about filled with older home buyers and sellers who may not be looking to purchase at this point in their life. We're talking about younger, in other words, your ideal client, and they earn $20,000 more on average, and they have a higher credit score, usually about 40. Again, on average, over the average internet user, including on sites like Facebook, Instagram, etc. That is your Craigslist user. Now, here's the other part about Craigslist that you may not be aware of. You've probably all seen the search engines these days, where you have any given search. In this case, it's Raleigh NC homes for sale, and it's dominated by the national search sites: Redfin, Realtor.com, Zillow, Trulia. You guys know it's the reason why individual real estate agents have basically been, there is no search engine optimization for those individual agents. And the reason is what the search engines are looking for is they're looking for high quality content. Okay. They want, when they serve up a site to a searcher, they want it to be high quality. Guess what? Craigslist meets that criteria. They want an authoritative source. In other words, they want a source that's been around for a long time and that appeals to the national consumer. Again, that's why Redfin, Zillow, Realtor.com dominate the search engines at the moment, is because the algorithms have decided these are authoritative searches. One of the criteria that they use when they're finding an authoritative source is how long has this site been around? Craigslist is still one of the most trafficked sites on the internet, and it's been around since basically the beginning in the late 90s. Okay. So Craigslist, boom, check mark number 2. It's an authoritative source. Finally, it has to be relevant. It has to serve up relevant to the search terms. So if someone types in Raleigh NC homes for sale, it needs to show up and it needs to actually have Raleigh NC homes for sale. Guess what? That's check mark number 3 for Craigslist. And so not only does Craigslist operate as one of the most trafficked sites around, but its ads are indexed by Google, and it allows you to get backdoor SEO when you run ads on Craigslist. Finally, let's do a side by side comparison with some of the popular lead generation sites and see how Craigslist stacks up. So, first, we got paid Facebook ads. Now, Facebook ads are cheap. It costs around $4 per lead. In some markets, it can be a little bit more expensive, but they're relatively cheap. You can generate effectively unlimited leads on Facebook for very inexpensively. Even now, the problem is the closing ratio is terrible. Okay. Not only are you going to have to spend your time and resources in sorting through hundreds of leads that are not going anywhere, but it makes the per transaction cost much more expensive when you're sorting through all of those leads. Now, here's the real kicker: there's not any buyer intent. And that's why the closing ratio stinks. The reality is, when you pay for Facebook ads, they're showing up in the regular Facebook feed. That regular Facebook feed is right next to political arguments, cat memes, the recent Instagram reel that went viral. There is no buyer intent. No one went to their Facebook feed to find a home to purchase or to find an agent to help them sell their house. There's no buyer intent there. Now, the next one that I want to take a look at is Zillow. Everybody's favorite, Zillow. Now, here's the reality on Zillow: they're very expensive. That's reality number one. And in fact, the prices have even gone up recently. It's more than $1,000 a month for most zip codes these days. But in a lot of areas, you can't even be an individual agent. You have to join one of these flex teams in order to get on Zillow. Now, here's the upside to Zillow is that the closing ratio isn't that bad. Typically, you're going to close 4 to 5% or about 1 in 20 closing ratio. Okay. So even though it's very expensive, it takes about 20 leads to close a deal, and there is buyer intent. In other words, people go to Zillow because they're searching for homes for sale. Now, here's how Craigslist stacks up. So, Craigslist, of course, in terms of cost, is totally free. Now, I know some of you are going, well, it cost me $5 an ad. No, it doesn't. That's only if you're in one of the major metropolitan areas, New York, Chicago, LA, etc. And it's only if you're posting properties for rent. That's not what we're doing with this strategy. We're posting properties for sale, which is totally and completely free in all areas, okay, including the major metro areas. So if you're not posting properties for rent, you don't have to worry about spending any money. It's totally free. The closing ratio is very similar to Zillow. In fact, in some areas, it's even a little bit higher. And so that's because there is buyer intent. When people are searching the real estate for sale section on Craigslist, guess what? They're searching for buyers or for their actual buyers searching for homes for sale. And so there is actual buyer intent there. It is the only of these three sources, anyways, when we compare them side by side, where you can generate leads for free that are actually going to close at any kind of efficient rate. So let's talk about writing the perfect Craigslist ad. Now, the headline and photo is your hook. It's got to stop the scroll. We want to skip the cliches. We want to call out unique features and speak directly to the person who's ready to take action, and then structure the ad copy to guide them straight to your lead capture page. We posted some examples on our site. You can access them at guerrillarealty.com/ad examples. But let me walk you through the format that we use that generates leads on Craigslist every single time. First things first, we follow a principle called maximizing curiosity. That means, number one, we don't list the price. And number two, we limit the photos to 4 to 6. Okay. Now, here's the reason for that. We want someone to be salivating about the house. We want to give them enough information where they're like, man, that looks great. I want to know more information. And then we want to leave off from our ad enough information so that they have to continue on to one of our lead capture devices in order to become a lead for us and to get the information for them. Okay, so if we put the price on the ad, if we put all 50 photos that our photographer took on the ad, they'd have no reason to continue on to the site. So we're going to not list the price. We're going to limit the photos to 4 to 6. Here's the next thing. We're going to include only about 5 selling features. Now, here's a little tip. I want you to just copy and paste the remarks section from the MLS. The only exception to this is if they're one of those agents who writes like a long novel when they post the ad. If they include, and most agents do a pretty good job of that, about 5 selling features in their remarks section, just copy and paste that as the property description on the Craigslist ad. Now, here's the biggest thing is you have to have a great call to action. It needs to be crunchy. It needs to tell the user it clearly exactly what they get if they do this thing you're asking them to do. And what they get is they get the more information. They get the pricing, photos, availability, etc. How do they get that information? They go to our lead capture device. And we actually use three different lead capture devices. Number one, we use 1-800 call capture. You guys have probably seen it before, but it's where if someone calls a 1-800 number, they enter in the extension and then they're given the details about the property. And in the meantime, you capture the lead. We also include text capture. So, hey, text this code to this phone number and you'll get the details. It automatically sends them to the details. And then finally, and this is where about 85% of all of our Craigslist leads come from, we use a lead capture website. Now, I know some of you are thinking, great, I can just send them to my website. And the answer is probably not. The reality is, a lot of agents are not successful on Craigslist, and it's not because they all write terrible ads. Most of it is because they don't have good lead capture devices. Okay. And that starts with a good lead capture website. Now, I'm not selling you anything, but you have to have a lead capture site that captures at least 10% of the traffic that comes to it. Here's why. The average real estate website captures 1%. That means 100 clicks have to come to the site before you even generate one lead. Now, even the best Craigslist ads generate about 5 to 7 clicks per ad. That's not a lot. And do the math there. If I'm generating 5 to 7 clicks per ad and it takes me 100 plus clicks to generate one lead, that means I have to put dozens of ads up to generate even one lead. And so I'm probably you're doing the math now and you're going, okay, this is why I've posted tons of ads on Craigslist. I've never gotten anything from them. It's all about lead capture. So if you have a 10% capture rate, that means you only have to have 10. That means we're generating a lead for every 1 or 2 ads that we post. Now, if you can even go higher, and by the way, our Pipeline Pro Tools website, we specifically invest in lead capture. That is the only thing that we care about when we design our site. And it captures it between 30 and 40%, meaning we generate a lead or two for every single ad that we post. And so if you do that and you do it regularly, you can have a steady stream of leads coming in at all times. Now, I mentioned before that your headline and your photo are your hook. That's what gets someone to stop scrolling. So this is the last thing that I want you to pay attention to. In this example, in this ad example on Craigslist, we have a beautiful looking house. The problem is this has a terrible first photo. We call this the cover image. This is what's going to either stop the scroll or they're just going to click on by it, right? This, even though the house is beautiful, has great colors and lighting, and the photo itself is great. The problem is if you use a photo like this, it doesn't stop the scroll. And that's because every agent uses some variation of the front of the house, the kitchen, or the living room for this cover image. And so if you use the same type of image that every other agent uses, they're going to just pass right on by your house. Okay. Now, in contrast, that's a no-go if we have a front of the house shot as our cover image. In contrast, you have this site, which the photo itself is actually a worse photo. It's worse lighting, less resolution. In fact, the house isn't as beautiful, but this is a completely different angle. Instead of using the front of the house shot, we're going to use a back screen and porch. It's one of the selling features of this property. And because it's a different angle, it's going to stand out from the crowd. It's going to stop the scroll. It's going to get them interested, and they're going to want to continue on the site. Finally, let's talk about how to supercharge your ads with SEO. Now, we're not talking meta tags or backlinks, just using the right keywords in the right spots. Think about property types, features, and neighborhoods your buyers are searching for. We'll sprinkle those in, and your ads start showing up where it counts. Let's take a look at the headline first. This is part of that hook that grabs attention and stops the scroll. Not only do we want it to matter when it comes to SEO, and by the way, if you don't know what SEO means, it's just search engine optimization. How do we appeal to the search engine so that it'll want to grab our ad and display it for searches? So the headline there's basically 3 keys you want to follow. First things first, no realtor cliches. You guys know what I'm talking about. The gorgeous, the charming, the solitude, awesome. Again, just go ahead and get rid of those out of your vocabulary. There's nothing inherently wrong with them, but that's what every other agent uses. And so it's going to be difficult for us to stand out from the crowd if we're using the realtor cliches. We want to pick out 2 to 3 unique features and just highlight those in plain language. Okay. And when we do, we want to make them keyword rich. Okay. So we want to get rid of a lot of the filler language, the ands, the ifs, the twos, stuff like that. And you'll notice in this particular headline, in the example I'm showing you here, it says private pool without upkeep. Okay. This is referring to a community pool. It says screen porch, which by the way coincides with my cover image, to enjoy wooded backyard. Again, and it also connects with the cover image. And because it does all of that, and it's very keyword rich. So by keyword rich, I mean I want to include as many keywords that might grab when someone searches for wooded backyard on Google, or they search private pool, or they search screen porch. I have all of those keywords that are going to help this ad get seen on Google. Okay, so that's the headline. Now we need to go ahead and pack it full of keywords. Again, I have another ad example here. So you'll see that I have the property description, I have the very clear call to action, and then I have my lead capture magnets. I have the website, I have the phone, I have the text capture, and at the very bottom, this is where I pack the keywords in. Now, I usually put it under the pound symbols. It doesn't really matter. No, you don't have to have hashtags before every keyword. This is going to help it get seen after it falls off the front page on Craigslist. But again, it's going to appeal to the search algorithms. So it comes up on the major search engines as well. And I basically have 3 categories for what should go into keywords. Number one, you should have different property types. So ranch, 2-story, 3-story, townhouse, condo. And by the way, I don't just describe this particular property. I have one keyword list that I pack at the bottom of every ad. So I'm going to include all the different property types because I want to come up for every possible search. Okay. I'm also going to include popular property features. So this is where I might put in, basement, mother-in-law suite, things like that at the bottom of my keywords here. And then the final one is I want to tailor it to my unique and local area. I have no interest in coming up for some random, town in California. I only want my ad to come up for people who are searching in my area. And so I'm also going to put in 15 to 20 keywords of cities, towns, villages in my local area, as well as popular neighborhoods and communities, popular school districts, and stuff like that. And I want to pack that at the bottom of my Craigslist ad. Again, this is going to increase the SEO value of the ad. It's going to help it get more traffic over time. And just quite frankly, on the Craigslist ecosystem itself, when your ad falls off that front page, which it will typically pretty quickly, it's going to help it come up in more searches and be more visible to people who are searching on Craigslist. That's it. That's the strategy. Now, I appreciate you sticking with us till the end. My favorite part about this strategy is that you don't have to wonder to yourself whether or not the strategy will work or not. Just try it out. Run an ad like we teach, direct the traffic to a lead capture website. It costs nothing. It takes up about 5 minutes. You could have leads within a few minutes after that. Now, we also do a full hour-long training on this classified ad strategy, and I'd love to share it with you. It's totally free. We give you everything you need, scripts, tools, ad formats, everything. To get a hold of it, just like this video, share it with a friend, and tell us below that you did all that. When you do, we'll shoot you a private link to the resource. And if you like this strategy or this video, I'd urge you to go ahead and subscribe. Not only does it help us on YouTube, but we put 2 videos up a week with strategies just like these, and we'd love to share them with you. See you next time.
Look, we've doubled our real estate business 3 times since 2019. If you want the full breakdown, exact scripts, step-by-step processes, and our brand new tool, drop a comment below.
No gimmicks, no paywalls. We're sending it completely free because we know it works.
Just type "send it" in the comments and we'll get it to you ASAP.
And if this was helpful, stick with us. We're dropping more strategies twice a week. Hit subscribe so you don't miss what's next.